people who just joined, if you could introduce yourself in the chat, that'd be great, and we'll get started in a minute.
Thank you. So welcome everyone to today's October Twin Cities Immigration Forum. This is a monthly meeting that is hosted by the City of Minneapolis Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs and the City of St. Paul Immigrant and Refugee Program to address topics of interest and concern to immigrant and refugee residents and individuals and organizations that serve the immigrant and refugee community in the Twin Cities. This monthly series originated in 2021 as a way to unpack immigration-related developments at the federal level, and the forum has expanded beyond our initial intention to include discussions on a variety of topics touching Minnesota residents with community and government speakers and updates. We are very grateful that you all are here today. My name is Michelle Rivera. I'm the Director of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs for the City of Minneapolis, and I will turn it over to my counterpart in St. Paul to introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Edmundo Lijo. I'm an Assistant City Attorney with the City of St. Paul, and I manage and direct the Immigrant and Refugee Affairs Program for the City of St. Paul.
Thank you. So again, we're grateful that you're here with us today. We're going to share just a couple of upcoming events with you, and then we'll turn it over to our speakers. First, Edmundo and I want to make sure that folks are aware of the Citizenship and Immigration Fair that is taking place this Saturday at the Copal Primero de Mayo Workers Center on Lake Street in Minneapolis. This fair is part of a campaign to encourage people to learn about and take that step to applying for United States citizenship, and also to learn about immigration generally. We will have speakers, including immigration legal service providers, talking about citizenship and available to answer questions on citizenship and other types of immigration status. We're also very fortunate that this month there will be a driver's license for all component, where representatives from the Driver and Vehicle Services Office will present and will also be available to answer questions that folks may have. We'll also have representation from the Attorney General's Office and the City of Minneapolis Civil Rights Office, sharing information about wage theft, labor exploitation, and offering people insight into labor rights and supports that exists at the city and the state level. Vaccinations will also be included, a number of providers and additional resources, and coffee and donuts. So invite people to join us this Saturday. We have interpreters available in multiple languages. Again, this is part of a campaign on behalf of the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul to encourage people to learn about citizenship, to learn about different types of immigration status. This is a welcoming space, and we're very grateful that the organization Copal and their Workers Center on Lake Street is hosting us. In addition to today's recording, we'll also be sending out notes to guests, and with the notes will be flyers for this Saturday's event, as well as additional upcoming events. Also want to make sure to get on people's radars that another nonprofit immigration legal service organization, Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid, is hosting a naturalization fair, a citizenship fair on October 24th. That will be at the Brooklyn Park Library from 10 to 2, and we'll also share a flyer for that event. So just wanted to make sure to share those initial updates. And with that, I will turn to our first. Oh, go ahead.
We got one question about the fairs. What time on Saturday?
Yes, so the citizenship fair is from 2 to 4 p.m. this Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edmundo. I think that if there are no other questions, we'll turn to our next portion of the agenda, which is our speakers. And the first speaker I'd invite to talk with us today is Casey Jo Carl, City Clerk for City of Minneapolis, who will share some information about city boards and commissions. So thank you so much, Casey, for being with us, and just let me know one way or the other what you prefer with regard to your PowerPoint.
So thank you. It's good to be with you tonight. And I'm going to try to manage technology, not my strength, but I'm going to try and share my screen and see if I can share a little bit of a PowerPoint. So there's something maybe a little bit more visually interesting to look at than me as we go through this discussion, and hopefully someone can let me know if I can get my screen shared. If
Looks
that's
like you're on
happening.
your way there. Yep, we're good.
Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, we're good. Thank
All
you.
right, I'll try and make this happen. So, boards and commissions, obviously, many, if not all cities have a number of different boards, commissions, committees, task forces, advisory groups, no matter what they're called. They are a way to provide a structured forum so that residents have a way to participate in the planning and development of their communities. And it's an important part of the city of Minneapolis, which has a very, very long tradition of creating these types of advisory bodies to engage residents in decision-making that affects what we would like to call community governance. So the ability to influence municipal policies and the delivery of municipal programs and services are appointed boards and commissions. I like to refer to them sort of as ABCs. We have a number of them. We have created a process in our Code of Ordinances, which I've outlined here, section 14.180, that talks about how the city of Minneapolis creates these bodies and how we appoint members to them. That ordinance was first adopted clear back in 1976. And so it's been around for quite a long time. We are right now undergoing a complete reform of that process to provide even more standardization in terms of how boards operate within the city's enterprise structure. And so that's a process that's in front of the city council right now. But in total, Minneapolis has approximately 57 different boards and committees and commissions and advisory groups, and they encompass about 700 seats. So that's about 700 individuals that we appoint to serve on these various boards and commissions. And they have a variety of duties and structures and functions. This slide attempts to provide
Casey,
a little bit.
Casey,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I only see your first slide, and I'm not sure if others are seeing the slides move along. Are others seeing the slides advance or no?
No.
Let me try again.
Can people see it now?
There's a.
Michelle, can
There
you
we
tell me
go.
what you see now?
That's
So now
better.
I see the duties generally.
Okay, so I'm going to back up one slide. What you missed was this piece as I was explaining that the city has a history of having boards and commissions. I mentioned we have about 57 total. That's 700 individual seats on the boards and commissions that we appoint. And they do a variety of functions. So hopefully you're now seeing duties generally.
Yes.
And what they do is, as pointed out on this slide, they provide a very structured means for members of our community to participate in community decision-making. So the development of government policies, the delivery of government programs, the council and the mayor look to our residents to bring skills and experience into that decision-making process for the benefit of the community. Obviously, it expands the basis for the kinds of advice that the mayor and the council would get on a variety of subjects. Our boards and commissions literally touch subjects that range from aging to zoning. So I like to say from A to Z, we have a board for you. And of course, it provides a big, important opportunity for the public to express its own priorities and needs about how the city is operating and what its priorities should be. So they serve a variety of purposes, from setting policy to implementing programs to delivering services to just helping ensure that the community has a voice in what the city is doing from day to day. And so some examples on this slide are, we have a Civil Rights Commission, which has been around for many, many years, and in fact was a precursor to the Federal Civil Rights Act at the federal level of government. So our Civil Rights Commission has a long history in the city of Minneapolis. Very proud of that. And it looks to do several things, including enforcing civil rights ordinance provisions within the city, but also they do workplace regulations and standard settings and other types of work that ensure a fair environment for all residents within the city. We have a homegrown food council that talks about healthy food, homegrown food, and food availability, and tries to address issues like food scarcity. We have a bicycle advisory committee and a pedestrian advisory committee. We have a capital long-range improvement committee that really provides advice to the mayor and council about what investments should be made in the city's capital program. That's our major investments through budget in streets, roads, bridges, water, clean drinking water, things like that. We have a Northside Green Zone Task Force, an advisory committee for people on aging. We have an advisory committee on people with disabilities, an advisory committee on housing. We have a planning commission. We have a workplace advisory committee. We have a racial equity community advisory committee, a public health advisory committee. So as you can see from this slide, hopefully, as I mentioned, from A to Z, we have boards and commissions that look at just about every topic there is and provide a variety of services, advice, and oversight to what the city is doing for the people of Minneapolis. In terms of serving on boards and commissions, there are a few basic requirements. All of our interested individuals, if you want to be considered, have to fill out an application form that's available online. Some of that information on the application form is public data, and we clearly identify that on the first page. And most of that public data or data is not public. So we clearly indicate where public or what public information is public and what information you provide is not public and therefore not released. And so that you can have confidence when you fill those forms out, what is or is not public. It clearly indicates on the two sides of our form. The mayor and the council are the appointing authorities for all of our boards and commissions. And so all of those appointments go through a very formal process and are considered by the mayor and city council, and they vote on those appointments in public. Some of our boards and commissions include a mix of both general and qualified seats, and I've tried to explain here the difference. A general seat is a seat that's open to anyone. Anyone can be appointed to it. Anyone can serve in that capacity. A qualified seat is one that has a certain qualification. So, for example, on our Civil Rights Commission, there are, I think, a total of 14 seats, 7 and 7. 7 of the seats are general. Anybody can serve. 7 of them require you to be an attorney. You must be an attorney to be appointed to one of those seats. That's the qualification. And so there are a few of our seats on different boards and commissions where there are certain qualifications, usually associated with education or a professional background, like an attorney, a property assessor, or something like that. All of our appointees must be residents of the city of Minneapolis, although the mayor and the council can vote to waive the residency requirement if they find that someone is just a really, really good fit for a specific seat. So these are the basic requirements. I know that Michelle had asked me, what about citizenship status? And I can share with you that citizenship status is not a requirement to be a member of one of our boards or commissions. A resident of the city of Minneapolis, but residency is not citizenship. And so those are two different issues. We don't address citizenship when we consider appointments to the city's boards and commissions. So this slide identifies the basic requirements for any of our boards and commissions, although very specific requirements may be in place for some of them. And you'd have to look at each individual board to see what those requirements are. But these are the basic requirements to be considered for appointment to our boards and commissions. There are a number of resources where you can find out more information. LIMS, L-I-M-S, is our city's legislative information management system, and it is the central location where all of our public meeting agendas, notices, calendars, the membership rosters of our boards and commissions, our bylaws, and our vacancies are posted. Our city website, it's a pretty long one here, www.minneapolismn.gov. and then /government/boards and commissions. That's a whole series of pages devoted to information specifically about the City of Minneapolis's boards and commissions. And my office, the clerk's office, is the office that helps the mayor and the council process appointments and kind of provides some general organizational support for our boards and commissions. We're open Monday through Friday, every weekday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That's the direct number to the clerk's office. It's 673-2216. If there are questions, concerns, needs of assistance about anything related to boards and commissions, I hope you'll call us and let us help you. That was my prepared presentation. I wanted to show you a few slides. This is the Legislative Information Management System, a picture of that website. And so as you can see, not only do we have information about city council meetings, but circled in red at the top, hopefully you can see we have independent bodies and boards and commissions. So if you were to go to this website, you could access all of the calendars, the notices, and the meeting agendas for all of our city's boards and commissions. You also could access information about how many members there are, who those members are, and what their terms of appointment are. So that's all there. And then I'm showing you, if you were to click on this link, the boards and commissions, you get this page, and you can see I've circled here current openings. We are currently going through one of our biannual appointment processes. We do appointments in the spring, starting in March, and in the fall, starting in September. So for a 4 or 5 week period, we open up and do recruitment to appoint people to different boards and commissions. And so this is an example of our recruitment page. Right now, we're searching or opening recruitment for a lot of different board and commission seats. And so this is an example of that current site showing you that we're looking for people to be considered to different boards and commissions. You can see right here, I mentioned the Civil Rights Commission as one of our groups, and they actually are looking to appoint people this cycle, in this fall appointment cycle. I'm happy to stand for questions, but before I do, Michelle, if I can maybe just hog the screen a little bit longer. And if I'm still sharing my screen, hopefully you'll confirm that. I wanted to walk people through the city's website really quick, just so in real time I could show them these websites that I just gave pictures of, so that could be helpful. So if you're seeing my screen, this is the city's main website. You can see it's called minneapolismn.gov. Oh, Michelle, I see you're talking, but I can't hear you.
We're still at the last slide of your presentation, so not quite seeing the website yet. I don't know if there's a little bit of a lag, but.
Let me try again. And stop sharing.
Yeah.
So hopefully I stopped sharing now.
Yep, you did.
And you can see my screen, which is the website.
Perfecto. We're there. That's it.
Oh, good. Sorry, I'm not technologically able. So again, I'm going to start again. You can see that the city's main website up here in the browser link is minneapolismn.gov. If you go to this main page and come over to government, the drop-down menu will show you right here, boards and commissions. Hopefully everybody can see my cursors highlighted there. And if you click on this page, it'll give you lots of opportunities. I recommend you just come up here to explore topic. That will take you to the main page. You can see boards and commissions here. Here's how you can apply for a position, find meeting calendars, find agendas and minutes, see all boards and commissions. We've given you a slew of different boards and commissions you can look at. Here's a member of one of our boards and commissions. We're very proud. This tells you how the appointment process works. So there's an explanation. Here's the clerk's office phone number I mentioned. You can call us for help. But this page will show you how to find more information. And if you go to the other website, if you click any of these pages, you're going to go to the other site I showed you, which here it is, Lens. And if you go under this link for boards and commissions, and go to all boards and commissions, it's going to take you to that page I gave you a screenshot of. And as you can see right here, it says current openings. So this is the list of all of our boards. But if you click on current openings, it will show you all of the positions we're recruiting for right now. So I mentioned the Civil Rights Commission is up for recruitment. There are 8 seats that are available right now. And if you click that link, it will take you to the sheet about the civil rights. So here it is. It talks about what the Civil Rights Commission does. These are the 8 seats that are up for appointment right now. It tells you the seat number, the term of appointment, when it starts, when it ends, who appoints them, and if there are membership requirements. Remember I said some of them have to be attorneys? If there's a requirement, it'll say it right here. So where there is nothing and it's blank, that means anybody can do it. So if you wanted to apply, let's say I want to apply for seat 3. I'm not an attorney and I want to be on this board. I would click right here and see how it says apply. You can come in here and there's an online application form. Remember I told you about this form. If it's got this little asterisk, it says it's a mandatory field and it tells you which of this data, information provided on fields with this icon, the little I, is public data and would be released if the public asked for it. If it doesn't have this little icon, see like right here, then it won't be released. So what ward you live in, if you know and you fill it out, you could say not applicable, or if you know it, you could put you live in Ward 4. That would be public data. Your email address, however, is not public data. Makes sense? You see there's no icon there. So your name would be public data. Your home address is not public data. Your ward would be public data. Your email address is not public data. So you can fill this whole thing out online. And then when you're done, you save and forward it to us.
That's
so
wonderful.
That's everything I can explain to you about boards and commissions at a high level. As I mentioned, Michelle, I'm happy to answer any questions that people may have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to try and stop sharing my screen so that hopefully I can see everybody again.
Thank you for this excellent presentation, and invite people to, if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or just plug it into the chat or just shout it out. Casey, I know there's one question that's in my mind, which is if people wanted to learn more about the specific board or commission and the actions of the board and commission to sort of understand a little bit better how these specific boards and commissions influence policy at the city, what would they do? How could they learn more about a specific board and commission and actions of the boards and commissions?
So going to LIMS, again, that site I showed you will give you a great way of tracking their agendas and seeing sort of what they do and when they meet. Also, and I hate to do this, I'm going to try and share it again just because I think it's easier for people to see this. So hopefully I'm sharing my screen again and everybody can see this. But you remember when you're here at LIMS at lims.minneapolismn.gov, if you know you're interested, for example, in a specific board or commission, you can come down here and search alphabetically. They're all listed alphabetically. And let's say you're interested in the Bicycle Advisory Committee as one that is pretty popular. You could click, well, first and foremost, right here, all of their meeting calendars are here. And this icon shows you the calendar. So you could literally just look at this one group and not have to go through all 57. But if you click on the name, Bicycle Advisory Committee, you just want a general overview. Every board and commission has what we call a board details page. It will tell you what the Bicycle Advisory Committee does. So this paragraph right here is a general statement about what this particular board does, what its job is. It tells you when this board was established. This one was established February 3rd of 1990. It tells you how many seats are on this board. There's 29. How many seats are occupied? 28. So they currently have a vacancy even though it says 0. The membership description, the term limits, the attendance that's taken, compensation if it's offered, how members are appointed, and which of the 2 cycles, fall or spring, those appointments are made. So general details. It shows you who all of the members are right now by seat number, by name, when their term starts and finishes, who appointed them, and what requirements they have, if any. So that's a pretty big board. Here you can go access all of their meeting agendas and minutes. You can access their calendar. You can find out when they meet. They meet monthly on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. in room 100 AB at the Public Service Building. You can find out, here's a link to the resolution that created this board if you wanted more detail about it. Here's a copy of their bylaws currently, and then here's the department contact information. So if you have a lot of questions about this particular board, you know that they are staffed by the city's Public Works Department. Here's an email address and here's a phone number.
That's excellent.
That level of board detail is available for every single one of our 57 boards and commissions and limbs right here by coming down to all boards and commissions like I just did, and then picking from the alphabetical list.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other questions that folks may have? Encourage people to learn more about the city's boards and commissions and to take advantage of this biannual appointment process, which is happening now. And Casey, very, very grateful that you were able to hop on and share this important information with the group.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if there are questions, I hope you'll call my office and let me know. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you too. Any last questions for folks? Are we good? I think we're good. Okay, Edmundo, I'm going to turn over to you. Thank you again, Casey.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Casey. All right, next on the agenda, we have Dr. Aswani and Dr. Nkimbeng from the University of Minnesota here to tell us about a very interesting study they're doing. Why don't you both quickly introduce yourselves and then tell us all about the study? We're excited to hear about it.
Poster, you want to go first? Okay, mine will be quick. My name is Dr. Aswani. I'm a research coordinator at the University of Minnesota. I work alongside Manka and Nkimbeng on this project. We are doing the Black Immigrant Project, and she'll elaborate a bit about it. We're just trying to find out the dementia burden in amongst Black immigrants. And this is phase 2 of the project. Phase 1 of the project, we did a needs assessment, and we created an educational program that is on offer for anyone who wants it. Otherwise, we are here on a recruitment drive, and I'll give it to the PI, Dr. Manka.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Edmundo and Michelle, for inviting us. It's a privilege to be here. So, as my name says, Manka Nkimbeng, and I am an African immigrant myself and a researcher at the University of Minnesota. And I say that because the fact that I'm an immigrant influences the work that I do. But over the past 4 years now, we've been working with the African immigrant community around dementia and dementia care and caregiving. So Poster mentioned that we started with the needs and assets assessment in the community. So that was really just going in and asking people what they had as needs, what they knew about dementia, and then also what they currently had as potential resources for helping people living with dementia in the community. The very first need that we found was dementia education. And so Poster mentioned that we have developed a culturally tailored dementia education that we're now disseminating into the community. So that was phase 1. And so that's available for anybody or any organization that is interested in having us come do that presentation. We're happy to come or hop on Zoom to do it remotely or in person. And today we're here to really talk about phase 2 of that project, which was the second need that came out in the community. It was that the people who are providing care for a relative living with dementia really have no support or really do not have challenges accessing services and support. And so the project that we're working on now is called the Black Immigrant Project, and that's really aimed at helping those care partners and persons living with dementia support them. And so we are looking for people who are currently providing care for a person living with dementia or who are currently living with dementia themselves to tell us a little bit about their experiences. And the goal of really understanding their experiences is that we don't want to develop a program that does not take into account what their needs are. And so we want to understand what their experiences are, what their cultural needs are, what their challenges are. And so that when we do develop a care partner program, it is really culturally tailored for the community. And Posa, Edmundo has put a flyer in the chat. So we're looking for persons who are either African or Afro-Caribbean. They're living with memory loss or dementia, or they're supporting someone living with memory loss and dementia. And this is really just sharing your experiences. So it's going to be a conversation with both of us or one of us, and the conversations right now are taking about 30 to 45 minutes, so it's not a long conversation. We can do it in the home if the person wants us to come to the home, or we can do it remotely via Zoom, depending on what the person prefers. And so please share with your communities or your organizations if you know people who might fit this criteria. We're happy to talk to them, and we're also providing a stipend of $50 for people who take part in the conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to put your emails in the chat so people on the call, or we also get a lot of people who watch the forum afterwards. So, you know, we'll probably get a lot more people watching as well. And if you're willing to put your emails in the chat, if people have questions, they can reach out to you directly. And also, if anyone else has follow-up questions, happy to entertain questions.
Sure. I just put my email in the chat, but my email is my first name at umn.edu, so it's a simple email for people to remember.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing. We'll also include a copy of the flyer in the notes that we send out with after the meeting. After this meeting, we usually send notes out to everyone who attended and who was invited, and we'll make sure that we get the flyer out. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having.
Oh, you're welcome. Next on our agenda, we have Becca Hovland from CAPI. Becca, are you here?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself, and then tell us about the Community Friend Volunteer Program.
Perfect, thanks. So yeah, I'm Becca. I am the Director of Refugee Services at CAPI. Our Refugee Services Department serves mainly the Afghan community. So we have a few different programs, and one new program that we're very excited about is the Community Friends Program. So the idea here is to match families with the volunteers who can help just help them connect to community resources, especially to support social and emotional well-being and workforce development. And as we all know, integrating into a new community takes a long time. So even though many of these community members have been in Minnesota for a year or more, there are just a lot of different resources that are available and that we are excited to have the volunteers connect them with. So I'm going to share, I'll share my screen quickly, but I'll also send all of this information in the chat. So we're looking for volunteers mostly, but also Afghan families. Our capacity is for 20 volunteers to be matched with 20 families at the moment. Yeah, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Since our capacity is to serve 20 families, we are gonna definitely prioritize higher need families who, you know, haven't already been connected to a volunteer and need more support with workforce development, especially, or language support. So this packet is mainly directed towards volunteers with lots of different ideas for activities. The expectation is that any volunteers would meet with their families at least twice a month, but do a check-in at least once a week. And it's really flexible, and you'll have a lot of support from the CAPI team in order to really navigate all of these resources. So yeah, the training dates, we're hoping to get started October 24th, but since our volunteer interest may trickle in, we're gonna get volunteers kind of started as they apply. And then we'll have opportunities for training and capacity building as the program goes on with each of these dates. So I will be sending an interest form as well as contact information. So any interested volunteers can contact our volunteer manager, Alexi Kleinschmidt, And for Afghan families, they can contact our refugee services team. Yeah, any questions?
Becca, this is awesome. If you wouldn't mind also putting those names and contacts into the chat so that
Yep.
people can pull them from the chat right away. Also, if there's a link to this packet, if you could put that into the chat too, that would be awesome. It's really exciting to see these organized programs where people who are interested in volunteering to welcome folks have a pathway to do so, where there's a little bit of guidance around areas of support that are most needed. So I'm really excited that CAPI has this program and appreciate that you're able to share it with the audience today.
Thank you. And any other organizations who want to kind of model this, we're really happy to share kind of the resources. There are so many great resources available in the Twin Cities, and kind of putting them all together in one place will just make it easier for all of us to help everyone. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Becca. Thank you so much for joining us today. Any follow-up questions for Becca? If not, we can go to our next item on the agenda. Callie Plagle, are you with us? Hi, Callie. Hi, Callie. Nice to see you.
Hello, everybody. I wish I had a better situation here.
That's okay. Why don't you do a quick introduce yourself real quick for those who don't know you, and then tell us all about the Here to Work Summit.
All right. So really, I'm very excited to talk about the Here to Work Summit. But first of all, I am Callie Plago. I do work for the city of Minneapolis in a non-immigrant capacity. I'm a crime prevention specialist within the police department. I serve the Phillips community in that role, and I'm really proud to be in that position and the work that we do there. But I'm here to talk about something I do as a volunteer. And I am a board member and treasurer for American Families United, which is a 501c4 organization. We lobby at the federal government for immigration reform specific to the issue of within immigration space, the spouses of U.S. citizens and who find themselves inadmissible. So there's all these problems within that pathway that we propose a solution for in terms of legislation normally. The Here to Work Summit is a little bit different. It is actually a collection of hopefully thousands of people in Washington, D.C. this November 13th and 14th. And the whole thrust of the Here to Work Summit is actually directed at the president and his administration to do exercise existing authority in issuing work authorization and parole to immigrants who've been in the country long term. And so there's over 100, close to 200 advocacy organizations who will have representation in Washington during the summit. And I'm here to invite you all to join us. I will be there as representing American Families United, representing my own family in that ask. In terms of the state of American Families United and the organization that I am with, we're specifically asking that the president grant parole, either parole in place or humanitarian parole, to the spouses of immigrant spouses of U.S. citizens, similar to the existing parole that is given to spouses of military members. And so that's our stake in this. We're really excited. Our organization is a $100,000 grant to help people with travel expenses, and so if anybody is interested in traveling to Washington, I'll share a link in the chat when I'm done talking, which is the registration link through American Families United to get access to a $500 travel reimbursement. And I'm also going to, and then there's a better link for more information that I will also share, which is through the American Business Immigration Coalition. ABIC is a very strong partner and one of the key leaders of the planning of the summit. So really, really excited about the work that's will be happening and that is being poured into this effort, and hopefully to see some exciting results for a lot of different communities in the immigration movement. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them, try and answer them. But I'll repeat my email address in the chat, and then I'll put the 2 links.
Great.
Thank
Callie,
you.
if you could repeat the dates of the summit.
Yeah, November 13 and 14.
Okay.
So the 13th, and this is in the link I'll share, but the 13th has a calendar of keynote speakers and some breakout sessions. It's kind of going to be like almost like a conference. And then on the 14th, there will be some lobby visits on Capitol Hill. But the real exciting part about the 14th is a march from Union, what's that called? Union Station to Lafayette Square. So it's about a 2-mile march. And if you can just imagine, thousands of people marching and representing their communities, and calling on the president to act on our behalf.
That's great. I'm very excited about this because I think this is such a needed change. So I'm very excited to hear. And yes, if you can put more information in the where people get more information in the chat, that'd be great. Any questions for Callie about the march or the event?
I will be available in email. If anybody has follow-up questions later, please do not hesitate to reach out. I have access to email on my phone and I'm always checking it. So you'll hear back from me if you reach out.
Great. Thank you so much, Callie. I really appreciate you joining us. All right. Next on our agenda, we have Eric from Change Drivers. Eric, are you here?
Yes, I am here. Yes.
Oh, great, Eric. If you could just introduce yourself and then tell us all about Change Drivers, that'd be great. Good to see you.
Yes. I'm Eric Mann. I'm the Executive Director of Change Drivers. We are a new nonprofit, up and running here recently. We're trying to work on the driver's license issue. So we are doing permit testing or permit work to get people the education on that, along with behind the wheel, which is really where it seems most people have the need. And then coming soon, we're also going to be having a virtual reality simulator to really get people more practice. So driver's license, everyone understands the problems and the solutions that can bring. So I won't get into that, but just been in small business my whole life. I see this as an opportunity and I'm really excited by it, and the energy that is around it and the people involved has been really inspiring for us to build this program. It's gone pretty quickly, and we're just pretty close to launching with all the nonprofits where we're going to bring awareness out there to the community. So we got a little more tidying up to do, a little more of our pilot groups and some things to figure out, and then we're going to do more of a formal launch and introduce ourselves to starting with the nonprofit world and then a bigger scale to the whole metro community of who we are and what we're trying to do.
Great. So have you been working with people yet? Have you gotten anybody?
We have 16 students right now. So finding people who want to be a part of this is not a problem. It's obviously the fundraising is always a challenge that we all face, but we're working through that. So we're doing, we have 2 driving cars right now with a possible 3rd on the way, and then 5 instructors, and currently going to be looking for more instructors. So just out there networking, trying to meet people and see where we can work together on the cost solutions, because it is, expensive to run this with fuel, insurance, and cars and things like that. But I do see a lot of solutions on how we can all work together. So coming out in our marketing and what we're going to be announcing is more of a relationship trait strategy, where I want people to contact us and see how we can maybe do groups together with other organizations and ways we can kind of collaborate a little more to help absorb some of these costs and make this affordable. So we really see a way to do this, and it's just going to take a little bit of creative thinking, which we're doing, and then partnering with people who see the need, and then ultimately too pitching this to really a lot of employers who are going to benefit by a more mobile workforce that the immigrants provide to be filling a lot of these jobs. So the plan for us is to really get going, get our foundation underneath us, get a track record, get some real wins, and then really go out and pitch this and get people to support us.
Great. I know you shared a flyer with us where people can contact you, and I was able to put that flyer in the link, but as a link and not the actual PDF. So we will also share. Michelle and I will also share your flyer, as we do with all the flyers, with the notes in the meeting today. Any questions for Eric about change drivers and the work they're doing, or?
Eric, if you wouldn't mind, if there's a point of contact, whether it's your email, phone number, just a way to connect, that you could also put in the chat, or just the best way to learn more about change drivers and actually speak with you or another person on your team. I think that would be helpful for folks. I know that the behind the wheel instruction is something that I know I fielded questions on, and being aware of folks who are engaged in that and have capacity to offer that support in multiple languages is something that will become more and more important as time moves on and more people learn about the ability to obtain a driver's license. Thank you so much for putting that contact in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the flyer has my contact email too. So the website we have is a little outdated already because things have moved quickly, but that's one of my goals here is to get that kind of refreshed. So contacting us, which is directly to me, is the best way. So I encourage everybody. I love sitting down and talking about this stuff, especially face to face. I feel we get more done. And yeah, reach out and let's figure this out.
Great. Thank you, Eric, for joining us.
Thank you guys. You two have been huge supporters, so I appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. Michelle, I think next on the agenda is community and city updates. Do you want to take on a couple of those?
Yep, I got a little quickie though first along, staying on the theme of driver's licenses. As many here know, the ability to obtain a driver's license or a state ID regardless of immigration status went into effect on October 1st. And we want to make sure that people have the most up-to-date information, including multilingual resources. I've just put a toolkit into the chat that includes videos in multiple languages, including Spanish, Hmong, and Somali in English, and graphics that folks may want to pull and share in increasing awareness about this amazing opportunity. In addition to the repository of graphics and videos, there is also a multilingual virtual assistant on the DVS website. You can just click help on the Driver and Vehicle Services website. Also want to make sure that folks are checking, I'm trying to pull it right now, the Driver's License for All webpage on the Driver and Vehicle Services website. And there are also multilingual resources available there, including manuals, I believe, in multiple languages to study for the written component of the test. There's also on the bottom of the page a calendar of events of where Driver and Vehicle Services will be in person. Happy to see that the event on Saturday at Copal's Worker Center is listed there, as well as a number of other engagement opportunities to learn more about how to obtain a driver's license or a state ID. So feel free to utilize those resources. And if folks have questions or may want to reach out for more information, certainly DVS is the main resource. But if there are additional questions that Anita and I can answer, please feel free to reach out to us as well. Just wanted to make sure that we are regularly bringing Driver and Vehicle Services driver's license for all information to this space for everyone. And with that, I can transition to a couple of items on our calendar of events for city updates, and then we'll invite community to share updates that you may have. One update relates to the city's learning labs. So the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department, where the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs is housed, hosts a number of learning lab opportunities, and there are some that are taking place this month. Learning labs are 90-minute information sessions that enable people to learn about engagement with different cultural communities. And I'm just pulling up the link right now so that I can put it in the chat for folks. They're running through the month of October. Upcoming learning labs include engaging with African American community members, engaging with the Latino community, engagement within the disability community, Native American community. I'm looking for the other ones to share. Southeast Asian, Latino disability awareness, African American, East African, and youth engagement. This series actually started at the beginning of the month. I hosted one on immigrant and refugee affairs and community considerations. If folks weren't able to attend, but find this Learning Lab series of interest, please don't hesitate to reach out. I've just put the link to the series in the chat with information on how to register. And I'm just going to put my contact information in too, in case people may be interested in learning more about the series or about the Immigrant and Refugee Considerations Lab. The other update I'll share is that Edmundo and I co-facilitate another virtual meeting series that is focused on newcomers. As we've seen an increase in the number of individuals coming to our Twin Cities from abroad, we host a worky focused space, so roll up your sleeves, get to work type space for individuals who are connecting with newcomers and addressing basic needs and trying to resource and collaborate together. These meetings happen once a month. The next meeting is Wednesday, November 2nd. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, please do connect with Edmundo and myself, and we'd be happy to forward an invite, even if you're not available to attend every month. It's a great space to stay connected with others, whether it's in the public school space, the healthcare, faith-based, a variety of participants sharing information and resources and really working to collaborate together to ensure that newcomers to our cities have access to the resources that they need to achieve stability and self-sufficiency in our cities. So again, the next meeting is Wednesday, November 2nd, 4:30 to 5:30. It's a virtual meeting series, and feel free to contact Edmundo or myself for more information. And Edmundo, I think I'm going to turn it to you.
Okay, great. This is time also for community updates. I did see that Steve Hawkins was here joining us. Steve, I know you have an update on Sister Pimentel, and we'd like to give you an opportunity to share wonderful news.
Edmundo, thank you. I appreciate that. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to share with you that Sister Norma Pimentel will be with us 1 week from tomorrow, and for a dinner event that we'll be hosting at St. Thomas More in St. Paul. I'm sorry, I'm just looking. Oh, there's the share. And I offer this to any organizations who might be able to join us that evening. Please give me a call. We do have some open seats left to fill. We'd love you to be our guest at our expense. If you could join us in that endeavor to spread the word about the issues surrounding immigration within our community, and to hear someone who's faced the issues firsthand in the Rio Grande Valley. So please give me a call. I posted my information in the chat. And I'd love to see you next Thursday night if you're available.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for that generous offer for organizations that are on the call here who join the forum. We really appreciate that. Steve, I can't seem to find your contact info in the chat. So maybe if you could just
Sure.
repost it one more time, and we'll make sure we get this information out in our notes in the next couple of days as we move on. All right. Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve before we move on? All right. If not, I'd like to go on to the next community item that I have. The St. Paul and Ramsey County Domestic Abuse Intervention Project will be hosting a vigil for victims of domestic violence on October 23rd at 6 p.m. at their offices at 394 Dayton Avenue in St. Paul. This event will be honoring the victims of domestic violence over the last year. There'll be a candle vigil and to honor the lives of the victims and survivors that the organization serves, and to show solidarity in creating a world where all people can be safe in their homes and communities. The event will be outside their offices with a candlelight vigil. Once the candlelight vigil comes to an end, there'll be a song that ends it, and at that point, people are invited to see their new playroom and also join the intervention project for hot cider and cookies. We will put a flyer for this event in the chat as well. It's also in part of the celebration, as this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So in order to make people aware of domestic violence, they are holding this vigil. Next on the agenda, any other announcements that people might want to make, or events that they're hosting they'd like to share with us? Just like to give everybody an opportunity to do that.
And if you have updates that you'd like to put in the chat on things that you're involved in or things that you're aware of, updates that might be valuable for others, please feel free to do so. We're at 5:30 and just have a couple of more items in our agenda, but always want to make sure that we are holding space for community members, community organizations, and others to share updates that you might have on work happening in community or topics that you'd like to share with the group. I see one hand raised. Callie, please go ahead.
Thanks, Michelle. Just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to share about a fun event coming up on Lake Street. And this is now back wearing my work hat. The LEDC, Latino Economic Development Corporation, is hosting their annual taco tour on October 21st. So a week from this Saturday. It's going to be from 11 to 4 and several locations on East Lake Street. So just really want to plug that. I know it may be trite to be talking about tacos on an immigration call, but I think it might be of interest for folks and really want to push or drive people to Lake Street to patron the businesses there. So thanks for the opportunity.
That is excellent. Thank you so much for sharing, Kali. If there's anything available online, I was just trying to search really quick, but if there's a link or something that you come across, please do share it in the chat. I think it's awesome to have information like this around supporting Latino-owned businesses on Lake Street. So really appreciate that you shared that update. Other updates that people may have or things you'd like to communicate or share? All right, I'm not seeing hands raised. I'm not seeing anything else in the chat, so I will continue on. Wanted to share some information about an immigration-related development and also possibly clear up some misconceptions. Perhaps folks were aware of or had heard or read in the news about the extension as well as the redesignation of temporary protected status for folks from Venezuela. And just wanted to talk through that very briefly, as TPS for Venezuela, for individuals from Venezuela, people who have been in the United States for a period of time and people who entered more recently. Temporary protected status, just generally speaking, is a designation of the right to remain in the United States and also to obtain work authorization for an 18-month period for individuals from countries where the U.S. government determines that either because of natural disaster, political instability, or other humanitarian reason, a determination is made to enable folks from those countries or last residents in those countries to be able to obtain the right to remain and work in the United States. One very significant detail around the announcement on temporary protected status for Venezuela was the actual redesignation of TPS for Venezuela. Redesignation essentially moves the date forward on relating to arrival dates when a person had to have arrived in the United States. And for TPS for Venezuela, the continuous residence requirement is since July 31st, 2023. And then continuous physical presence since October 3rd, 2023. So I put in the chat a link to learn a little bit more about temporary protected status for Venezuela. And the misconception that I wanted to make sure that we were clarifying here is there's also a couple of articles in the news around the Biden administration deporting Venezuelans. And so there may be some uncertainty or confusion around the TPS designation and then the immediately afterwards or very soon afterwards determination to either not permit individuals to enter the United States from Venezuela, perhaps to the southern border, or remove individuals from Venezuela. And so just wanted to make sure that it's clear that this TPS designation remains, including for folks who entered the United States on or before July 31st, 2023, and can demonstrate they've been continuously physically present in the U.S. since October 3rd. I also wanted to share that there will be an engagement session with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, a virtual engagement taking place tomorrow, I believe at noon Central Time, and there's an engagement opportunity in Spanish as well as in English. If folks are not able to catch that, recordings will be available on YouTube. So I'm trying to pull up some of that information so that I can put it in the chat here, but it may get a little bit lengthy. But just want to make sure that people know that there are these opportunities to learn more about temporary protected status for Venezuela, and happy to answer any questions that people have. And we'll just hold space for a quickie second for that. Meanwhile, I will also share folks have expressed interest in learning more about DACA updates, deferred action for childhood arrivals, and what the current status of DACA is. We also wanted to share that Anti-Racism Daily is a website which had a great quick overview of DACA history, as well as the impact of the recent decision from Judge Hanan, and where things may be going with DACA. Just reconfirming that people who currently are maintaining DACA are able to continue to apply for extensions of DACA pending ultimate outcome on appeal of the litigation around this topic. But this Anti-Racism Daily, I think it's a podcast actually, as well as a summary article, which gives a good overview of where things are at right now. So just put it into the chat. And if there are additional updates, Edmundo, that I'm missing, or additional details that you wanted to share about the updates that I've communicated, or there's more stuff in the chat, I think there were a couple of things. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yep. Thanks, Michelle. I also posted the Anti-Racism Daily. I see you posted
you
it
did
in the chat. Yep. Okay. But I also see Anissa. Are you still with us? You posted 2 events. Would you like to share a little bit? She's still with us?
Or I know that Somali Community Resettlement Services, and I'll just read it out for folks who may not be able to see the chat. Somali Community Resettlement Services is offering a technical training for immigrants and refugees with interest in training certificates in different areas that will help them gain employment. And Anissa, we can't hear you. I'm not sure why. But if there's more that you or Somali Community Resettlement Services wanted to share, like the date, location, stuff like that, that would be super useful. And then if there's a flyer that you want to share, we can certainly communicate it to the group afterwards. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I'm seeing you'll send an email to
Great.
us. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we're not able to open the link in the chat, unfortunately, Anissa.
All right,
Great.
and Mundo, back to
All right.
you.
Great. Any other events or things of interest that people would like to share? Give you a second to do that. If not, we can talk a little bit about Michelle and I are always now trying to put. Do we have a hand?
I see hand raised.
Ifran? Ifra?
Ifra.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
So I'm from Somali community, and we do have an event that's happening in October 14th, which is this Saturday. We have a mental health fair where everybody is invited. We are going to be focusing about past traumas, generational traumas, substance abuse, and immigrant-related mental health aspect. So yeah, please come. We will share a flyer. Anissa will probably send you guys a flyer. You're all welcome to join us. And as far as the training, we do have IT trainings. So we have one that is the ACW training and as well as cybersecurity, but mostly it's focused on people who are laid off. So if you know anybody who's laid off and would benefit from the program, please go ahead and reach out to us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for sharing. And if you can send us, or Anissa send us a flyer, we will include it in our notes and out to people.
Yep. And then Ifra, if you wouldn't mind sharing your
AWS, not ACW, AWS.
Wonderful. And if you wouldn't mind sharing contact information or even like a website or something in the chat, if people want to reach out to you directly,
Okay.
whatever contact information you think is best, feel free to put it in the chat in case people want to reach out before they receive the notes.
Absolutely. I can also share my email, my work email.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining.
Update. I see another hand raised. Unetu?
Yes, I'm Unetu Debela from Somali community. Ifra is my colleagues in the office.
Yes.
I appreciate she took the floor to explain. And just to add a few points on what she has already mentioned, that the Somali Community Resettlement Service was formed by a voluntary network of Somali refugees. I hope you do have these all informations. And it's mainly our work is focused on assisting the new arrivals on documentation, paperwork, navigating the American system, and assisting with healthcare access, legal protections, and education training, and also income generation skills, and other resettlement activities. So we are dealing with many issues which is benefiting the immigrant communities. Recently, we are also incorporating the Afghani refugees as well, not only the East Africans, but the name is Somali, but we cooperate, we encompass the whole East Africans, including Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, and the rest other East Africans. And recently, as I said, we are also serving the recently arrived Afghani communities. Health issues are our main focus areas: health, transportation, housing, and health, home and community-based services, equity, including health equity and racial justice. All these are covered by Somali Community Resettlement Services. We do have 3 offices. One is in Rochester, the other is in Faribault, and the main office or the headquarters is here in Minneapolis. Just to add these few points on what Ifra just said. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing and joining us. So welcome. I hope both of you will come back again and continue to join us on the forum and
Sure.
share events and hear about other organizations as we share a lot of information on this forum, and we're always open as well for questions when things come up. If people have questions, we try to bring in people who are experts in certain areas so that we can discuss and learn. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you come back again.
Sure.
All right. Anyone else like to add or an event or talk about an issue before we start to wrap things up? If not, a few forums ago, Michelle and I started a little section on extra credit, what we call extra credit, and it's just kind of readings that we come across sometimes that we'd like to share with others who might be interested. And this month we're sharing a book that was recently published by Green Card Voices called My City Was a Sparkling Jewel, Voices of Newcomer Youth from Afghanistan. It's the latest installment by Green Card Voices of their Youth Voices series that includes the journeys of 19 young men and 11 young women whose lives were radically disrupted by the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan in August of 2021. So if you're interested, we can share more information about the book and how to obtain a copy of the book. Also, we always post job opportunities. We will post links both to the City of Minneapolis government jobs page and the City of St. Paul Human Resources jobs page if you are interested in opportunities and learning more about opportunities at the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. With that, our next meeting will be, hang on a second, I believe in November from 4:30 to 6. If you give me a second. I believe our next meeting will be November 9th from 4:30 to 6. And as Michelle indicated, on November 1st or 2nd. Second, we'll have our Welcome Twin Cities meeting if anyone is interested in joining the Welcome Twin Cities meeting. Nope, I thought welcome, it's November 1st, isn't it? Welcome Twin Cities.
We keep going back and forth about this. Hold on one second. Let me just check and make sure. So
right.
November 1st or 2nd. You are right. Oh my gosh.
Right.
So it's November 1st. I'm the one who's been saying it wrong all this time. Sorry, everybody. Sorry,
so that's all right. November 1st for Welcome Twin Cities meeting, and our next forum will be on November 9th. And with that, thank you very much for joining us today. And if there's anything else you'd like to share, one last chance. Here you go. If not, everybody have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the information that you've shared, and look forward to continuing to be in touch. Hope to see some of you on Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. for the Citizenship and Immigration Fair, and don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you all again. Appreciate it.
Bye. Nice to hear you, Anissa. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.